Okay, buckle up, Buttercup, because what I'm about to tell you will absolutely ruin your childhood memories. Like, permanently. Consider this your trigger warning, because we're about to spill some industrial-grade tea on one of Hollywood's dirtiest open secrets. You thought Victoria's Secret was about empowerment? Girl, please, sit down. Let me tell you about the billion-dollar illusion that had us all fooled. The master manipulator. So here's where it gets creepy. There's this billionaire named Leslie Wexner, right? And no, he wasn't some fashionista or creative genius. He was a businessman. The guy who owned Bath & Body Works decided one day, you know what? I'm gonna turn underwear into a global obsession and make bank. And here's the twisted part. It worked. Too well. In 1982, Wexner bought this struggling little lingerie store called Victoria's Secret and basically said, I'm going to make every man fantasize about this and every woman feel inadequate without it. Genius? Maybe diabolical? Absolutely. The man literally weaponized insecurity and called it a business model. He didn't just sell bras, he sold an idea. The idea that you needed to look like a literal angel to be worthy. And we ate it up like idiots. The Fantasy Factory. Let's talk about the show. Oh honey, the show. It wasn't just a fashion show, it was psychological warfare disguised as entertainment. They called it the Super Bowl of beauty, but it was more like the Hunger Games of body image. Tyra, Heidi, Adriana, Giselle, all strutting around in diamond-encrusted bras worth millions while Justin Timberlake serenaded them. It was insane. The world literally stopped to watch women who hadn't eaten carbs in 6 months parade around in lingerie. And here's the sick part. We thought they were living the dream. Meanwhile, behind those megawatt smiles, absolute chaos. The angel standard, aka the torture requirements. Okay, so you want to know how you became an angel? Great. Just be 5'9", have a 24-inch waist, and maintain exactly 18% body fat. Oh, and be symmetrical in a very specific, male-approved way. These girls were training like they were preparing for war. 2 workouts a day, 6 days a week. Ballet, boxing, Pilates, Muay Thai, whatever it took to carve their bodies into submission. Trainers treated them like lab experiments. Let's see if we can make a human survive on 200 calories while burning 3,000. And if your body dared to be human, if you gained half an inch anywhere, replaced, just like that. You're out next. Jessica Hart made one tiny comment about Taylor Swift's 2013 performance, and boom, she was ghosted harder than your ex who owes you money. The message was crystal clear. Shut up, smile, and obey, or we'll find someone who will. The bathroom situation. Yes, really. Can we talk about the bathroom situation for a second? Because this is where it goes from toxic to straight-up dystopian. One year, 47 models and dozens of crew members shared one unisex bathroom. One. These women were fainting, starving, crying, and peeing in shifts. But sure, tell me again how glamorous it was. Oh, and the models? They were fighting each other over wings, like literal wing size determined your worth. The bigger your wings, the more camera time. So you had grown women sabotaging each other over feathers and rhinestones. It's giving Lord of the Flies, but make it fashion. When the angels started singing. So 1997 rolls around, and a model named Alicia Arden says something wild. She drops a name that would eventually bring the whole empire crashing down. Jeffrey Epstein. Wait, that Jeffrey Epstein? Oh yes, bestie. That one. Alicia said Epstein approached her when she was just 19, claiming he was a Victoria's Secret scout. He invited her to his Manhattan townhouse to build her portfolio. When she got there, he assaulted her. Tried to undress her, groped her. She filed a police report, and guess what happened? Absolutely nothing. The company swept it under their very expensive rug and kept it moving. But plot twist. Alicia opened Pandora's box, and soon other models started talking. And when models start talking, oh honey, everyone listens. The Harvey Weinstein of lingerie. Enter Ed Razek, a senior executive who apparently thought he ran a dating service instead of a company. Multiple models described him as inappropriate, which is corporate speak for absolute creep. Andy Muiz said he tried to kiss her and harassed her in a limo in 2007. When she rejected him, she mysteriously wasn't cast the next year. Coincidence? I don't think so. Other women said he'd touch them during fittings, make sexual comments, try to kiss them. And when they complained, nothing, some were laughed at. Others got hush money and NDAs. One former PR staffer, Casey Crow Taylor, said the culture was so toxic that when she complained to HR about Razek publicly fat-shaming her at a buffet, yes, really, an HR rep literally said, "If I had $1 for every complaint that crossed my desk, I'd be rich." Girl, that's not the flex you think it is. The prescription for perfection. Erin Heatherton, the blonde bombshell everyone envied, she came out and said Victoria's Secret told her to lose weight and pushed her to use prescription appetite suppressants. Like actual drugs, phentermine to be specific, which a therapist later compared to bathwater meth. Let that sink in. They were giving models essentially meth to stay thin. Erin's body started shutting down. She became depressed. But hey, at least she looked good in those wings, right? That was sarcasm in case it wasn't obvious. Bridget Malcolm, the angel who said fuck her this. But the model who really said screw your NDA was Bridget Malcolm. This Australian queen held nothing back. In a viral TikTok in 2021, she revealed that Victoria's Secret told her she was too big after gaining half an inch on her hips. Half an inch. She also said they encouraged her to have sex to lose weight. Yes, you read that correctly. They suggested sexual activity as a weight loss strategy. I can't even make this up. Bridget went 3 days without food once. By 25, she'd stopped menstruating, her hair was falling out, and she was on anxiety meds just to survive. She became suicidal, but sure, living the dream, right? Even the icon couldn't take it. You know it's bad when even Adriana Lima, the literal face of the brand for nearly 2 decades, finally admits what she went through. 9 days before the show, liquid diet. No solid food 12 hours before the runway, she'd stopped drinking water. This woman was walking down the runway dehydrated so her body would look tighter on camera. And millions of girls saw that and thought, that's what I need to look like. The call was coming from inside the house, people. The Epstein connection. Oh, it gets worse. Remember Jeffrey Epstein? He's back, baby, and not in a good way. Turns out Epstein wasn't just some random creep. He was Leslie Wexner's closest financial advisor. He had power of attorney over Wexner's finances, meaning he could literally sign checks and buy property in the billionaire's name. And what did Epstein do with all that access? He used the Victoria's Secret name as bait for young girls. He'd approach them on the street, in malls, at modeling agencies, and say, "I'm a recruiter for Victoria's Secret." Then he'd invite them to auditions. You can guess what happened next. When Alicia Arden, the first model who spoke up, heard about Epstein's arrest in 2019, she told the press, "If they'd listened to me then, maybe all those other girls could have been saved." But nobody listened. Not Victoria's Secret. Not Wexner. They were too busy counting money. After Epstein was finally arrested, Wexner suddenly claimed he was deceived and that Epstein misused his trust. But here's the thing. Epstein lived in a mansion owned by Wexner. He used Wexner's private jets. And even after Epstein's first arrest in 2008 for soliciting minors, Wexner didn't cut ties. The math isn't mathing. Sir, the interview that broke the camel's back. In 2018, Ed Razek did an interview with Vogue and was asked point blank, "Will you cast transgender models or plus-size models in the show?" His answer? No, because the show is a fantasy. Read the room. Edward, the internet exploded. People weren't just mad. They were done. The brand that claimed to celebrate women was now openly saying, but not those women. Razek tried to apologize, but it was too late. The damage was catastrophic. The empire crumbles. Sales tanked. Stores closed. Viewership plummeted from 12 million in 2001 to 3.3 million by 2018. And then, in late 2019, the impossible happened. The Victoria's Secret fashion show was canceled after more than 2 decades. Angels were unemployed. Executives resigned. Leslie Wexner stepped down as CEO in 2020. The empire built on glitter and gaslighting had finally collapsed. Meanwhile, brands like Savage X Fenty were thriving because, shocker, women wanted bras that fit them, not bodies that fit bras. the desperate rebrand. In 2021, Victoria's Secret tried to save face by launching the VS Collective, replacing angels with activists, athletes, and artists. Megan Rapinoe, Priyanka Chopra, Paloma Elsesser. They replaced executives, dropped scouts, and suddenly started preaching body positivity. But as one former model said, you can't fix decades of damage with one rebrand. Another called it performative feminism. And honestly, she's not wrong. The same company that body-shamed women for eating bread was now suddenly woke? The moral of the story: Victoria's Secret wasn't selling lingerie. They were selling an impossible standard that destroyed lives. For decades, we bought the fantasy while women starved, suffered, and stayed silent. But here's the beautiful irony. The same angels they tried to control and silence, they're the ones who brought the whole thing crashing down. Because when angels start talking, heaven doesn't just shake, it burns. And honestly, good riddance. Now you know the truth. Sweet dreams.